Have you ever looked at an old tire, a plastic bottle, or even a forgotten suitcase, and thought it was nothing but junk? Today, you'll see how these ordinary items can bloom into rustic treasures that will completely transform your garden and patio this summer. This is ModHaus DIY, where creativity turns trash into timeless farmhouse beauty. In this video, Rustic Summer DIY Upcycling Sunflower 15 Cutest Trash to Treasure Garden and Patio Ideas You Won't Believe, I'll share 15 of the most charming, practical, and affordable ways to make your backyard, patio, or tiny garden glow with rustic summer charm. This video comes with timestamps, so you can skip to the projects you love most. And remember, if you have any questions, or if one of these sparks your own idea, drop a comment below. I'd love to see what you create. And if this inspires you, use what you have at home and make it your own. I may just be another face on your screen, but behind every video is a story, a real family, building something from nothing. Every like, every comment, every subscribe, it truly keeps this dream alive. When you hit that button, you're not just helping a channel grow. You're giving hope. You're helping a small family believe in tomorrow. Thank you for being here. There is something magical about watching a dull, heavy tire turn into a sculpture that almost feels alive. In the soft glow of summer sunlight, the garden no longer looks ordinary, it feels like a playful painting. Tires once forgotten by the roadside now bloom as oversized flowers, their painted petals catching the warmth of the day. Each bright color hums with joy, orange, pink, and blue, like laughter sealed into rubber. Children wander close, pointing at the giant daisy that seems to smile back at them. The marigolds tucked into the tire's center release their sunny fragrance, as if to whisper, "I was born from what you almost threw away." And isn't that the sweetest trick of summer? To take what was broken, what was heavy, and let it rise again in bloom. The patio carries the charm of farmhouse simplicity, rough wooden beams, a brick path dotted with weeds that seem happy to exist. Between them, a sunflower tire stands, bold and unashamed, as though to remind the world that beauty is not always delicate. Sometimes, beauty is sturdy, recycled, and painted with the boldness of human hands. In a small corner, tulip tires guard a cluster of herbs. Lavender waves gently with the breeze, and the colors of the petals glow under the sky's light. The shed in the background doesn't steal the view. Instead, it feels like the backdrop of a scene that tells you, this is your space, your creation, your proof that life can be both practical and magical. Neighbors stop by the fence. They smile, sometimes chuckle, and always linger longer than they planned. For who can resist a garden where trash has learned to bloom? It is in these sculptures that summer's spirit lives. Not in perfection, not in expensive design, but in the courage to play, to paint, to cut and shape with care. To make something cheerful that lasts through the seasons. And when evening falls, the colors do not fade, they deepen, becoming richer in the dimming light. The tires may never forget what they once were, but now, they stand as flowers that will never wilt. Strong, vibrant, and forever summer. In the heart of summer, nothing feels more inviting than the sight of pumpkins, even if they are not carved from nature but shaped from something once forgotten. Tires, heavy and black, are given a new life with coats of orange paint, and suddenly, the backyard begins to glow with the warmth of autumn carried into summer. The first tire sits proudly in the grass, its bold orange shining under the sun, a playful echo of harvest season. From its center, sunflowers rise tall, their golden faces smiling at the sky. They turn the scene into something almost storybook, as if the garden itself has learned to tell tales of transformation. On the patio, stacked pumpkin planters wait by a chair where someone might sit in the afternoon shade. The painted vines swirl along their sides, pretending to climb like real tendrils of squash. Above them, petunias spill over in cascades of pink and purple, softening the bold orange with their delicate charm. The scene whispers of farmhouse comfort, of watering cans, wooden beams, and the slow rhythm of a summer day. Down the gravel path, a trio of pumpkin tires rests in line, each one filled with zucchini plants whose broad leaves fan out with strength. Yellow blossoms peek between the leaves, hinting at the fruit soon to come. The shed nearby, dressed in ivy, watches quietly as the garden grows. What was once trash has now become a promise of life, food, and color. There is a joy in walking past these pumpkin planters, in feeling the blend of whimsy and purpose. They are not just decorations, they are keepers of flowers and food, guardians of color and cheer. The neighbors may pause, curious at first, then impressed that something so practical could also be so beautiful. As the day ends, the orange of the tires seems to hold the last glow of sunset, their round forms glowing like lanterns in the dimming light. They stand as proof that creativity does not need to be expensive, nor beauty delicate. Sometimes, all it takes is paint, a little imagination, and a willingness to see a pumpkin where once there was only rubber. There is a quiet satisfaction in giving old metal a second chance. A wheel rim, once racing down roads or forgotten in a garage, suddenly blooms with flowers and becomes something more than it ever was. In the soft light of summer, these planters stand with dignity, sturdy, dependable, and unexpectedly beautiful. One sits along the gravel path, silver edges catching the sunlight, while red geraniums burst from its hollow center. Their petals glow like embers, creating a contrast that feels bold yet tender. The fence nearby is weathered but proud, and the grass around it seems greener for standing close to such unexpected beauty. On the farmhouse patio, stacked wool rims painted white hold lavender in full bloom. The scent drifts lazily in the air, mingling with the hum of bees that dance between blossoms. A rustic bench waits beside them, inviting someone to sit, to rest, to breathe in the fragrance of a summer that feels endless. These planters do not ask for perfection, their chipped paint and uneven edges only make them more charming, more real. In another corner, rusty rims cradle marigolds and petunias, their scratches telling stories of roads once traveled. Yet here, instead of noise and motion, they offer calm and color. Ivy climbs along a stone wall, creating a backdrop that makes the flowers look brighter, the garden feel older, wiser, and welcoming. Neighbors might pass and pause, at first unsure of what they see. Then the realization comes, these are wheel rims, transformed, blooming with color. And with that realization comes a smile. Because it is not only about saving money or reducing waste, it is about the joy of seeing potential where others saw nothing. The rims, heavy and grounded, remind us that beauty doesn't have to be delicate. It can be sturdy, recycled, and built to last. Flowers spill from them like laughter, unapologetic and bright. And as the sun sets, the rims gleam faintly in the fading light, holding their blooms as proudly as they once held tires. They have found a new road, not one of speed, but of stillness, a path lined with petals, rooted in soil, and alive with summer's promise. When the sun dips low and the garden begins to fall into shadow, something magical awakens. Bottles, once tossed aside as trash, now dangle like glowing jewels, their painted skins catching the light of small flames within. What was once forgotten has become a lantern of summer nights, humble yet enchanting. On the patio, a row of bottle lanterns swings gently beneath a wooden pergola. Ivy crawls overhead, framing each soft glow in green. The candles flicker, their light dancing across the wooden beams and casting shadows that feel like stories. Guests who step onto the patio pause, surprised that such warmth can come from something so simple. The air is filled not only with the hum of cicadas but also with the quiet delight of seeing trash reborn. In the garden, tulip-shaped bottles line the stone path. Their lights glow in playful hues of blue, green, and yellow, as though summer itself decided to scatter its joy onto the ground. The path feels like a secret walkway, leading to dreams hidden among the blooms. Children laugh as they follow the glowing trail, while adults smile, reminded that wonder can be handmade. Along the rustic fence, white and gold lanterns burn gently, their light reflecting off the petals of tall sunflowers. The breeze makes both the flames and the flowers sway in rhythm, creating a scene that feels alive, like the garden itself is breathing with the night. Neighbors stop to admire, to ask questions, to imagine how they might try the same. And that is the beauty of it, the idea is not locked away in craft shops or costly designs. It is here, simple, accessible, glowing in plain sight. Bottles that once held water or soda now hold light, hope, and a reminder of what hands and imagination can create. As the night deepens, the lanterns remain steady. Their glow is soft, never harsh, welcoming rather than commanding. And perhaps that is why they feel so precious, because they do not try to be perfect. They only try to shine, to bring a touch of rustic magic to the dark. And in their glow, the garden feels less like a backyard and more like a world of quiet celebration. As twilight settles over the backyard, the fence begins to glow like a line of small suns. Pumpkins, real and imagined, stand proudly along the wooden posts. Their carved faces and patterns flicker with warm light, as though the fence itself has learned to smile. What was once an ordinary barrier is now a ribbon of rustic magic, binding the garden with warmth and cheer. The first pumpkins glow softly on the farmhouse fence, their candles breathing life into the night. Each flame trembles with the breeze, throwing playful shadows across the grass. It feels like a gathering of old friends, silent, steady, each one holding a light for the evening. In another corner, bottles painted pumpkin orange swing like lanterns. Their glow is softer, more playful, but just as inviting. Marigolds bloom at their feet, their golden petals echoing the lantern's light. Vines curl around the posts as if to hold the glow close, keeping the garden warm against the falling dark. On the patio, a mix of pumpkins, both real and upcycled, stand in line. Some are made of tires, carved and painted to mimic the rustic charm of the harvest season. Their glow spills out through simple patterns, stars, leaves, and vines, that seem to dance in rhythm with the fireflies hovering nearby. Behind them, sunflowers stand tall, guardians of the light, their heads nodding as if in approval. Neighbors pause by the fence, caught off guard by the unexpected beauty. Some laugh at the creativity, others whisper plans to try the same. The fence has become more than wood and posts, it has become a stage where imagination performs each night, where trash and tradition come together to create something timeless. As the night grows deeper, the lanterns remain steady. They do not shine with the harsh glare of modern lights, but with the gentle warmth of candles and LEDs tucked inside shapes born of resourcefulness. They remind us that magic can live in small corners, in fences, in gardens, in hands that choose to create. And so, under the watch of the pumpkin lantern fence, the backyard does not fade into night. It glows, alive with rustic charm, carrying summer's laughter into the dark. In the corner of a garden where space is scarce, tall towers rise, not of stone or wood, but of simple pipes once destined for the landfill. Painted with rustic charm, these Parlon herb towers stand as guardians of flavor, each cutout bursting with life. The herbs spill gently outward, their fragrance carried on the warm summer breeze. At the first glance, they look almost too simple to hold so much magic. Yet basil waves its soft green leaves, mint pushes forward with confidence, and parsley gathers like a cluster of emeralds. The gravel beneath crunches underfoot, grounding the scene in practicality, while the wooden fence behind offers a steady backdrop for this quiet transformation. On the farmhouse patio, 3 towers sit side by side, each one overflowing with rosemary, thyme, and oregano. Their scents weave together, creating a melody that drifts into the air, mingling with the sounds of laughter and clinking glasses on a summer evening. The towers are not decorative only, they are alive with usefulness, a kitchen garden growing within reach of every hand. In another garden, one lone tower rises from a wooden crate, its faded terracotta paint blending with the earthy tones of the yard. Lettuce and spinach cascade from its sides, their freshness almost glowing in the sunlight. Behind it, ivy climbs slowly along the shed wall, as if drawn to share the tower's sense of purpose. Neighbors often lean over the fence, curious about the tall structures. Some smile at the ingenuity, others take notes in their minds, planning to build their own. And that is the beauty of these towers. They are not only practical but also deeply inviting, offering the promise of fresh harvest in even the smallest spaces. By night, when the day's warmth fades, the herbs still hold their fragrance, a quiet reminder that life can be grown anywhere, even in the hollow of old pipes. What was once overlooked trash has become a living pantry, rooted in soil, bathed in sunlight, and nurtured by the hands of someone willing to dream. Here, among the herb towers, the garden feels both rustic and modern, both practical and poetic. And every leaf that grows is proof that even the simplest materials can rise tall with purpose. Every suitcase carries stories, of places traveled, of hands that once held them tight. Yet when their journeys end, they need not be forgotten. In the garden, they open once more, not to carry clothes or maps, but to cradle blooms and leaves, transforming into farmhouse planter boxes that breathe new life into old leather and faded shells. On the patio, an old leather suitcase rests on a wooden crate, its hinges squeaking with memory. Inside, geraniums burst forth in shades of red and pink, spilling over like laughter. Ivy trails from the corners, softening the hard edges, making the scene feel both nostalgic and alive. It is as if the suitcase has become a memory chest not of travels, but of summer itself. In a small backyard, a pastel blue suitcase stands proudly by a fence. Its surface bears scratches, but inside, basil, thyme, and rosemary grow thick and fragrant. Each leaf brushes against the air, releasing scents that remind one of kitchens filled with warmth and homemade meals. A clay watering can rests nearby, waiting patiently, as though it, too, has been given a second chance. Further along a gravel path, 3 stacked suitcases bloom with wildflowers. Daisies lean toward the sun, lavender hums with bees, and marigolds scatter gold-like coins of summer. Behind them, a farmhouse wall stands weathered and chipped, its imperfections echoing the charm of the planters themselves. Neighbors often pause, smiling as they notice these suitcases, puzzled for a moment before their eyes light with recognition. They realize these are not just decorations, but invitations, proof that beauty can be built from what once seemed too old, too broken, too useless. By evening, when the sunlight fades, the flowers remain vivid, their colors deepened by shadow. The suitcases hold them gently, their once empty shells now bursting with life. They are reminders that journeys never truly end, they simply change direction. In these planter boxes, the spirit of travel continues, not across continents, but across seasons, carrying the garden into new adventures of growth, color, and rustic charm. And in their quiet way, they teach us that even when one journey closes, another waits to bloom. In the quiet corner of a backyard, something unexpected ripples gently in the sunlight. Where once a tire lay forgotten, a pond now rests, cool and alive, bringing movement and reflection into the garden. What was once hard rubber has become soft water, a home for lilies, reeds, and even the shimmer of fish. In the first pond, a single tire is sunk into the earth, its edges hidden by stones and summer blooms. The water is clear, lilies stretch across the surface, and dragonflies hover, their wings catching the light. Children lean close, fascinated by the tiny ripples, their reflections mingling with the petals floating on the water. In a smaller garden, a painted blue tire holds koi fish that slip beneath floating leaves. Their orange and white bodies move like living brushstrokes, bright against the calm surface. Around the pond, marigolds and lavender add bursts of color, making the corner feel like a secret retreat where sound and sight weave together. On the farmhouse patio, stacked tires become a miniature pond with moss creeping gently along its sides. A few goldfish dart between shadows, while the scent of herbs drifts from nearby pots. Wooden chairs wait close by, inviting someone to sit and listen to the quiet trickle of water as it cools the air. Neighbors who pass by are often surprised, not only at the pond itself but at how ordinary tires have been transformed into a source of calm. The pond does not shout for attention, yet it draws the eye, offering rest and reflection. It is proof that elegance need not be costly, that serenity can be built with hands, imagination, and patience. As evening falls, the water mirrors the fading light, holding the last colors of sunset before night settles in. The tire pond remains steady, cradling life within it, reminding anyone who sees it that even the most unexpected objects can hold beauty when given a new purpose. In the stillness of its waters, the garden feels complete, a place not only for growth, but also for pause, for peace, for the quiet joy of creating something from almost nothing. When evening falls and the air cools, the fire pit becomes the heart of the garden. Flames leap softly in the center, their light wrapping the yard in warmth and glow. Around it, wheel rims stand like loyal guards, scarred, rusted, but unshaken, forming a rustic border that steadies the fire and adds character to the scene. In one backyard, rims scarred with scratches hold the fire like a circle of history. Each mark whispers of roads once traveled, now repurposed to anchor nights filled with laughter. The glow of the fire reaches the wooden chairs nearby, and families gather close, their shadows dancing on the grass. On a patio corner, silver rims shine faintly in the firelight. Boots stretch out near the flames, a sign of comfort after a long day. Potted herbs sit close by, their leaves flickering gold in the light, releasing faint scents of rosemary and thyme. The fire does not only warm hands, it warms memory, weaving each detail into the fabric of summer. In a farmhouse yard, blackened rims circle a raised fire pit. Sparks climb toward the twilight sky, carrying with them the quiet thrill of evening. Sunflowers nod in the background, tall and steady, their faces catching the last of the day's glow. Wooden benches complete the circle, ready to hold stories, songs, and the simple comfort of presence. Neighbors might pause by the fence, drawn by the glow. Some may recall childhood nights of gathering around flames, others may simply admire the creativity of using wheel rims, objects of motion, now to hold stillness and light. The rims themselves seem proud, no longer bound to tires, but given a purpose that feels enduring. They stand as proof that even in their rust, their weight, and their wear, beauty can be found. As the night deepens, the fire pit remains alive, pulsing with warmth. It is not just a source of heat, it is a gathering place, a rustic hearth in the open air. And around it, the garden feels less like a patch of land and more like a home, stitched together by fire, laughter, and the sturdy glow of wheel rims reborn. In the quiet charm of a farmhouse patio, a table stands that could never be bought in a store. Its round body glows with pumpkin orange, not from the soil but from human hands, tires stacked, suitcases painted, bottles reshaped. It is upcycled, rustic, playful, and proud. This table holds not just cups or flowers, but the story of resourcefulness woven into daily life. In one corner, stacked tires painted bright orange form the heart of a patio. A round wooden board rests on top, sturdy and smooth, supporting a vase of fresh daisies. Their white petals and yellow center seem to smile at the sunlight. Around the table, chairs creak with familiarity, and ivy creeps quietly along the fence, framing the scene with living green. Elsewhere, an old suitcase carries a second life. Painted in pumpkin hues, it sits proudly as a quirky patio table. On its surface, a tray of lemonade glistens with ice, promising refreshment in the summer heat. Marigolds bloom at its feet, their gold echoing the orange above, while herbs brush against the air with scents of basil and thyme. The gravel crunches softly underfoot, grounding the moment in simple joy. As dusk falls, bottles transformed into pumpkin forms gather into a table shape. Their orange paint glows under the lantern's flame, green vine patterns curling around their sides. Wooden benches wait close, and lavender releases its evening fragrance. Under the pergola, the table becomes not just furniture, but a lantern of its own, holding warmth for whoever gathers near. Neighbors smile when they see it, amused and inspired by the transformation. The pumpkin patio table is more than a place to rest objects. It is a reminder that creativity does not need perfection. It only needs hands willing to try, to see a pumpkin where there was once only trash. As night settles, the table remains a cheerful centerpiece, glowing in its orange coat, sturdy in its purpose. Around it, conversations rise, drinks are shared, and laughter lingers. It is proof that even the most unlikely objects can carry beauty, when given color, care, and a touch of imagination. In the heart of summer, the garden breathes not only with color but with sound. The soft trickle of water, steady and soothing, turns an ordinary corner into a sanctuary. And at its source? Bottles once discarded, now carrying life as part of a backyard water feature that feels both rustic and magical. In one garden, bottles painted in warm earthy tones stack neatly, each one letting water drip gently into the basin below. Stones ring the basin, their surfaces wet with shimmer, while marigolds bloom nearby. The fountain hums like a quiet lullaby, offering rest to eyes and ears alike. On a small patio, a cascade of clear bottles channels water like glass catching the sun. The flow sparkles as it falls, scattering light across the lavender and daisies at its feet. A wooden bench waits beside it, shaded by a pergola, where someone might sit and listen to the melody of water weaving into the hum of bees. Elsewhere, a spiral tower of painted bottles channels streams into a small pond. Blue and green bottles glow under the daylight, their colors echoing the water they guide. Lily pads float gently on the surface, while sunflowers nod above like watchful companions. Gravel paths lead to the feature, drawing visitors to pause, to lean close, to wonder at how simple bottles could make such joy. Neighbors pause too, surprised by the creativity. Children delight in dipping fingers into the cool water, watching ripples spread. Adults marvel at how trash has been shaped into tranquility, proof that beauty can be born from even the simplest of hands. As the evening light fades, the water still sings, carrying the calm of the day into the night. The bottles, though humble, shine with a new dignity, their purpose no longer disposable. Here in the backyard, the water feature is more than decoration. It is a reminder that peace does not require wealth, that imagination can carve beauty from what was once overlooked. In the quiet trickle of recycled bottles, summer's voice is heard, soft, steady, endlessly refreshing. Sometimes, the smallest details breathe the loudest joy into a garden. Along the fence line, bottles once meant for the trash now sparkle like jewels. They catch the summer sun, refract it, and scatter it across the grass in colors no ordinary paint could ever create. On one side, glass bottles in green, blue, and amber rest upside down along a wooden fence. The light pours through them like stained glass, painting the yard with fragments of color. Neighbors pause at the sight, their eyes widening as they recognize the bottles they might have thrown away. In that recognition blooms inspiration. If bottles can glow like this, what else could they become? In another garden, plastic bottles painted in bright yellows and reds bloom like oversized flowers against the wood. Their playful shapes dance in the breeze, echoing the laughter of children who run past them. Lavender sways below, its purple blossoms mingling with the painted petals, creating a wall of rustic delight. Closer to the patio, a row of hanging bottles cradle small succulents and herbs. Their leaves spill over the rims, green against the clear glass, soft against the rough wood of the fence. Behind them, tall sunflowers rise like golden guardians, nodding their heavy heads as if approving the creativity of what they see. Each accent is simple, inexpensive, born of hands willing to imagine. Yet together, they transform the fence from barrier to gallery. The bottles are no longer forgotten objects but storytellers, each one adding a spark of light, color, or life. As the day wanes, the sun drops lower, and the bottles glow deeper, their reflections shifting with every angle of light. They become lanterns of memory and promise, their brilliance proof that beauty doesn't need perfection, it only needs care. And when night comes, the fence does not vanish into shadow. It holds its quiet dignity, a frame for the garden's heart, a reminder that even boundaries can bloom. In the glimmer of upcycled bottles, summer lives not just in flowers or grass, but in every detail of creativity etched into the garden's edge. In the smallest of gardens, even borders can carry joy. Along the edges of flower beds and gravel paths, bottles painted pumpkin orange stand proudly, creating lines of cheer that glow in the sunlight. They are simple, handmade, yet they transform the garden into a place that feels festive and alive. In one backyard, marigolds and daisies rise behind a row of bottles cut and painted bright orange. The flowers seem to lean toward the borders as if greeting old friends. Children pause to touch the bottles, laughing at how they resemble pumpkins lined up for a parade. It is a border, yes, but also a celebration of color and play. On a farmhouse patio, softer hues of orange and green shimmer where bottles form a curved edge around a herb bed. Basil, thyme, and rosemary spill their scents into the air, their greenery framed by the pumpkin-colored line. The bottles catch the light like tiny lanterns, reminding anyone who passes that imagination can turn even the smallest scraps into warmth. Down a rustic walkway, bottles painted with vine patterns guide the way to a shed. The gravel crunches underfoot, the sunflowers nod gently in the breeze, and lavender hums with bees. The borders do not merely separate, they connect, drawing the eye and the step toward what lies beyond. Neighbors often smile when they see the borders. Some laugh at the whimsy, others marvel at the neatness, but all agree on the charm. What once held water or soda now stands as a row of miniature pumpkins, proof that creativity can thrive even in the smallest spaces. As evening falls, the bottles deepen in color, glowing under the warm light of the setting sun. They look less like trash and more like tiny treasures, handmade gems that outline the heart of the garden. These pumpkin bottle borders remind us that beauty does not always come from grand designs. Sometimes, it comes from patience, paint, and the willingness to see pumpkins in bottles. In their glow, tiny gardens feel bigger, brighter, and brimming with rustic summer charm. Fences are often seen as barriers, but in the rustic heart of a farmhouse garden, they become invitations, lines that hold beauty as much as they hold space. Old tires, once left behind, are cut, painted, and set into the earth, rising as a fence that feels both strong and charming, both practical and poetic. In one backyard, have tires painted white and brown stand side by side like sentinels. Behind them, sunflowers stretch their golden faces toward the sky, and wild grasses sway in rhythm with the summer breeze. The fence is not polished, but it is proud, echoing the strength of the farmhouse itself. In a smaller garden, black tires are carved into arches and fixed onto wooden posts. Marigolds burn bright at their feet, lavender hums softly with bees, and ivy climbs, weaving nature and craft into one. The fence does not shout, it whispers of patience, of hands that found beauty in what others left behind. Along a patio edge, tires painted in muted farmhouse tones form a quiet border. Cream, terracotta, and olive green blend with the colors of potted herbs and daisies, creating a rhythm of earth and bloom. Each tire carries its scars and scratches, but together they form something whole, something lasting. Neighbors who pass by often stop to stare, surprised at how such a simple idea could reshape a space. They laugh, they ask questions, and sometimes, they take the idea home with them. That is the secret of this fence. It does not just guard the garden, it spreads inspiration outward, like seeds carried on the wind. By sunset, the tires cast long shadows, their curves softened by the fading light. The fence looks less like a wall and more like a frame, holding the garden's colors in place. It is proof that beauty does not always come from perfection, but from persistence, imagination, and the courage to give old things new life. And so, the rustic farmhouse fence from tires stands steady, a reminder that strength and charm can be found in the same breath. In its presence, the garden feels more than enclosed, it feels embraced. The garden feels more alive when it sings. Bottles once tossed aside now dangle as feeders, painted in bright hues that catch both sunlight and the eyes of passing birds. What was once trash now swings gently in the breeze, offering not only color but nourishment, drawing feathers and song into the heart of summer. On a wooden pergola, bottles in red, yellow, and blue hang like cheerful ornaments. Sparrows perch lightly on the edges, dipping their heads to find seeds. Their wings flicker in the light, scattering shadows across the patio floor. Sunflowers nod nearby, as if bowing to the chorus of chirps that fills the air. Along the fence, glass bottles in soft greens and ambers sway gently. Finches and robins arrive, unbothered by the rustic simplicity, finding comfort in the feast inside. Lavender hums with bees below, while daisies shine white against the wood. The scene is not loud, but it is full, each detail adding to the quiet abundance of summer. On a patio corner, 3 feeders painted in playful shades of orange, purple, and teal shimmer under the sun. Bluebirds flutter eagerly, their feathers catching the light as they dart between branches and bottles. Below, marigolds burn gold, completing the picture of a garden brimming with warmth. Neighbors pause to listen, to watch the way the bottles have brought more than decoration, they have brought song. Children point excitedly at the birds, while adults smile at the simple ingenuity. These feeders remind everyone that joy can be crafted by hand, that beauty can be coaxed from the simplest of objects. As the day drifts toward evening, the feeders continue to sway, their painted colors deepening in the softer light. Birds linger, unafraid, their voices carrying into the dusk. Here, among the bottle feeders, the garden feels like a sanctuary, not only for people but for creatures of the sky. And in every flutter of wings, every cheerful chirp, lies proof that even discarded bottles can help weave life back into the air, turning a backyard into a place where summer truly sings. And that's it, 15 rustic summer DIY upcycling ideas that prove trash can truly become treasure. From pumpkin planters to bottle lantern fences, I hope you've seen how easy it is to bring farmhouse charm into your patio, backyard, or tiny garden this season. Which idea inspired you the most? Was it the tire pond, the pumpkin patio table, or the colorful bottle bird feeders? Let me know in the comments, I'd love to hear your favorite. If this video sparked even one new idea, please give it a like, share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe. Every single click, every single comment keeps this dream alive. Thank you for watching ModHaus DIY, where creativity turns trash into timeless beauty. Until next time, keep creating, keep dreaming, and keep believing in the magic of your own hands.